Sandals and shorts, and surf, and scuba, and sand, and sailing, and soccer. San Diego, California.
Previously on Two Balls and a Mic.
Season's greetings and welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, episode 260, back here on a Monday. The team is materializing in the form of San Diego FC. The first ever training week of San Diego FC history has concluded. During the second week, we're going to go ahead and talk about what we discussed with players, staff, Tyler Heaps. It was a big weekend and a huge announcement scheduled for this upcoming Wednesday at the global headquarters for San Diego FC. What this means, who it is, and what it's going to be like for this MLS season. We're also going to go ahead and talk San Diego Wave. They are also materializing in a different way. They're making the team that they didn't have, that they lost, and potentially will continue losing. Will Naomi Girma stay in San Diego? We're going to go ahead and discuss that and the date for Jonas Eidevall to join San Diego Punto Football on an interview, actually, exclusively. Goals, gaps, and greats. What else do we have? That's it. I mean, we're good. I mean, you just the bit doesn't work on a audio medium, Chiba. It doesn't work. I'm sorry.
Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day to all the people out there.
Dr. Martin Luther King Day, a day that we were discussing is being absolutely insulted by what happened today in the form of the trash service not skipping a day. Absolutely just disgusting behavior by the trash companies. Yes, 4th of July will skip a day, but not today. So a lot of people getting up on a cardiac session. Welcome to everybody who is joining us here on a Monday. Chiba, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, cool.
I lost.
It was discussed in the last 2 minutes before we went that one of us wasn't going to talk for some reason. We played rock, paper, scissors. I won, and I don't know. Anyway, not talking is not an option because talking is something that we have to
Plenty
do.
of talk about today.
About soccer in San Diego. So
Press
again,
that breaking news button real quick.
Oh,
Breaking news. Alejandro Chia Villaseñor destroyed Tony earlier today in a friendly match of foot tennis.
Okay.
5-2. It's paliza.
that's fine. I'm welcoming you into the world of it, and I want to make sure that
because
you're.
I've never played foot tennis before.
No, you clearly haven't.
Yes.
You were like a baby giraffe.
I was just asking for the rules that you play with. What?
Yeah, no, you said it.
I destroyed you in your own game. Oh my god!
my own game, but you've been playing for forever.
You
Anyway,
would have been there, Have. Would have been great.
your own game and you lost?
Yeah.
You said you've been playing forever and you lost
Yeah,
with him?
suck
He was
it,
a
dude.
rookie, a newcomer?
I'm welcoming
Vales
him.
madre,
I'm
güey.
welcoming him into.
No. The whole time,
his
Abe,
soccer
he was like,
tennis.
"Hey, but I look pretty good doing it, right?" And I'm
I
like,
did look
"Okay,
really good.
dude,
I did look really
chill."
good setting you up for success. I coached you into success. So
I'm
some
gonna
may
come
say
up with
it's
a
my-
new nickname for Tony.
Okay.
I don't know what fish for compliments, Tony. Validation.
What is
Tony.
wrong with you today?
That's so mean.
What is wrong with you?
It's
All right.
great.
It's
I
okay
love
to.
it.
Usually we do
This is
make fun of Tony a little
Very-
bit, but
We never make fun of Tony.
today you're going a little hard today, Gio. It's okay.
Yeah,
I love you.
I spent a lot of time today with him.
Yeah, so yesterday was the conclusion of the week, the beginning of the new week. Sunday is the beginning of the week because a lot happened between Sunday and Saturday in terms of San Diego FC. We made 2 appearances at the Sharp Healthcare Performance Center over at Singing Hills. That is the training grounds for SDFC as they opened their doors up for the first time for media availability, to be able to speak to the team as it's forming, as they are getting to know each other. San Diego FC is in the middle of signing a bunch of players. Medical are happening over at medical facilities around town. These things are going. There's people who haven't been announced yet who are pending medicals at this point, and with an announcement too that's incoming here on Wednesday. That was that the way the email, it just sounded very very
Are we allowed to share that?
yes, because it's already public. It's already public record, and I'll tell you where, and I'll actually go ahead and do it from there, because I'm not going to read it from my email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, all right.
Look at that.
Okay.
Isn't it
On
right?
Facebook. Yeah.
Absolutely. On Facebook. It's going to be San Diego FC will hold a major press conference on Wednesday, January 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at SDFC's global headquarters in Little Italy, San Diego.
Guesses on what it's going to be?
That is coming down. We'll touch a little bit on what we saw out there in the first couple of instances, first trainings. What can it be as this team is coming together? But yeah, Chiva, who do you think, or what do you think this is going to be?
I think
a new
it's
partnership?
I think it's going to be
Announcing
for
shade?
no.
Announcing the name of the Independent Supporters Union.
I think it's going to be announcing the next DP player, Anders Dreyers, from Anderlecht in Belgium. He's a 26-year-old right winger who is honestly checks all the boxes that the team has mentioned that they need out of a right winger. Anders Dreyers, he's Danish, so he already has that relationship built with in Varksven and Jeppe. He played in what's the team called in Midtjylland.
Okay,
from
Hey, that sounded pretty good.
That sounds pretty good.
So I mean
appreciate
that's
you.
one of the top teams in the Danish league, and you know he scored a couple goals against FC Nordsjælland as well. So it's no surprise that FC Nordsjælland scouts already kind of had him on his radar. So when it comes to that, like, why not try to sign him, right? So he's a very pacey player. He's good on the ball. He has a very good left foot as well. He's been playing in Belgium for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
26 goals as a winger there. That's not bad. I mean, he won Player of the Year, I believe, for FC Anderlecht last season. So I mean, just a player that's reaching his prime right now. And he's valued at 10 million euros, and I think they're getting him for about $5 million.
Yeah.
So that's a good deal. You know, that just shows how Tyler Heaps likes to get deals done, and he is one hell of a negotiator if he's getting that deal.
And again, this is all still speculative at this point. Nothing official from the club just yet. A lot of talk of that from the speculation side of things from the media from both Monday and Friday over at Singing Hills. And that speculation adds questions. You know, obviously De Bruyne is a big question mark throughout the entire session, whether in English, whether in Spanish. Head coach Mikey Varas was asked a couple times, like, hey, so what's next? You're signing this player. You have Oni Valakari over, who played in Cyprus, who looks like an exciting young player. But what's next? What's still missing? And he was very clear that San Diego FC at this point is still in need of a right winger, a dynamic right winger who can travel into the midfield and be pressing and really be a complement on the other side to Chucky Lozano and be able to feed that 9 of whether it's in Varsen or another signing on that. But that, again, is something that they focus on. Let's talk about the players that we have here. Also, it's known that Mikey Varas has said that they still are in need of a 10, like a creative 10. If you look at the roster and lineup for San Diego FC right now, there are a lot of midfielders, a lot of 6s, a lot of 8s, a lot of young talent, but not necessarily that 10 pivot point, two-way player that they're really looking for at this moment. But again, this is going to be a team that's coming together right now, officially rostered, I believe, 21 players. They still have 4 players who are being tried out. But eventually to reach the 30 player cap.
And with that in mind, right, that 10 that they're missing, there's also the rumors that Luca La Torre could be coming to San Diego FC on loan from Celta Vigo. He's a San Diego native. I mean, he gets called up to the national team very often. He's more of a rotational player for Celta Vigo, but he's more than talented. And, when you've proven yourself to be able to play in one of the best leagues in the world, I mean, coming to the MLS and representing your hometown team sounds like a dream as well. Hey?
Yeah, and I think something that Pochettino said that we heard when Brandon Vasquez made the move to the MLS, he said, like, he spoke with Pochettino, and one of the main things he said was you need to be playing at a high level. So if you're not getting the minutes you need in Europe, that's kind of the reason why Vasquez left Monterrey, because he wasn't getting as many valuable minutes. It was more so about winning, but he wanted to put himself in the best position to be selected to the national team. So could be the same opportunity for Luca de la Torre.
And speaking about players getting that play time, I actually also spoke with Tomas Angel, the young Colombian forward for San Diego FC at training. And he actually made a stop, and his latest stop was at USL Championship side Phoenix Rising. And so he was actually a recent player that joined halfway through the season. And so he gets those questions like, hey, you're joining a new team. What's the goal? Why here? And a lot of it was that same thing. Like, he wants that playing time. He needs to get that muscle going. And so for a young dynamic player who's moving up the ranks, who's moving up the pyramid of MLS, it's good to have that under your belt, still having some experience in the MLS through the LAFC program. This is going to be an interesting set of weeks that is going to really dictate what SDFC is going to look like starting off the year. I don't think there is going to be necessarily some signature beautiful style of play against LA Galaxy, against St. Louis City, against Real Salt Lake. I don't think SDFC, if they get points, will make it pretty. Talking about when Major League Soccer season begins. But they'll have a couple of tests as a run-up. They play at the Coachella Valley Invitational, as well as 2 closed-door scrimmages, one against the Sacramento Republic and once against and once against the USL side.
Something that Mikey Varas told me at the training this weekend, this last week, he said that, like, it's only been a short time, but the team has kind of gelled together. He said they definitely don't have the legs yet, but they could play like a good 20 minutes and look like a proper professional team.
Yeah,
which I think is surprising to me. After like 4 days, I highly doubt that you could have it's soccer at the end of the day. You can kind of play with anyone, but to look like a professional team is pretty high praise. But obviously, you're going to say that for the first week. It's
what is it supposed to say? No, we look like shit, guys.
I mean, it would be nice to say, like, hey, you know what? It's the first week. It doesn't look great, but we'll get there. It'd be funny if you said that. But I think this team does look like a proper team with an identity. It reminds me, what I was thinking about in training, reminded me of like old school FIFA, when you have like certain players that you had to, like, when you do an ultimate team, you have to have the chemistry together. So it's like they're all playing on one side or whatever. So you have Jeppe and Vartsen, and now you're going to have another Danish player. So you have like, okay, so now we have 3 from Denmark. We have the one Mexican player. We can be by himself. But then you have the goalkeeper who's Mexican as well, who actually was talking to Chucky. I don't know if you saw that at the training. Him and Chucky were kind of laughing it up there, which it's fun to see that the relationships are building. People are getting to know each other. It's very interesting.
I mean, going with that, right? Based on what Mikey Barras is saying, I don't think he's in the position to be joking, right, and making those jokes. I mean, I don't think he has the pedigree to just be able to say, yeah, we look like shit right now. Like, dude, it's your first time as a head coach. Like, you better take this seriously. I mean, if you're more of a seasoned veteran, then I can see you cracking those jokes, but I think he's going to take this seriously, and he's going to go with the safe answers when he's talking to us. So,
well, there isn't a lot to really say either. Like, what is he supposed to say? Look, half of these people don't speak the same language.
Yeah, it's
half
tough.
of these people are incredibly not match fit because they're coming off the holidays. I spoke with Patty McNair, and he was like, "No, yeah, like, I'm match fit. I can go tomorrow," because he was coming. We was playing in loan, and he was over in Europe, and he was match fit. Same thing with Sverskov and Varsen. But even then, there's players who are being restarted, that are being reactivated, and then you're actually asking them to kind of really start getting to know on the mental side of things, how you want to play, what the identity of this team is. And that's again what San Diego FC is going to really have to focus on is getting wins and not making it look pretty, which I doubt is going to happen because they're going to be so stubborn with the way and play style of Right to Dream and making sure that that's the case of going forward.
We
Did
have a
you
question.
have? Oh,
No,
yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead. Okay. Did you have a favorite player that you spoke to on Friday?
I really like the way Anibal
Yeah.
presented himself. Like he's a veteran. He's a
Yeah.
veteran in the midfield. He's a
Oldest one in the
hard hitting
team.
guy. 100%. Emma Boateng was really cool. It was his birthday, and
Mhm.
he was really awesome coming after and kind of getting him that question as far as like, oh, like, so what do you like in terms of cleats? That's always like a little throwaway question where you kind of get to talk with the players and start making those relationships. And as the year goes, you can kind of like, hey, so hey, that game was tough, man. And they'll have that kind of layer blocked, kind of the wall protection come down a little bit. But other than that, like I think Chuki's in a mode of he's being asked the same questions, and even though they're different questions, he processes them the same, and he's giving the same answers. Where it's like, okay, there's nothing to talk about. There's not a lot of game footage that they can really speak to, or they want this to happen. Like they're just here training, getting
Mhm.
fit, working on the conditioning. I saw that the ISFA World Cup for the regionals World Cup trophy that Paul Nathan Naku made is actually what they're using at training between the players. You didn't see that?
That was the same one. I saw they were using that World Cup trophy, but
Yeah, no,
I
that's
didn't
the
know
same
that
one.
was that's yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He might won that trophy for I think just because it was his birthday, but he was
No,
walking around with the
I think there were like some of the competition that you have at training, whether it's soccer, tennis, whether it's whatever it may be. I'm not bitter.
Yeah, my favorite was probably Marcus and Clarkson. I
Mhm.
was really surprised at how and not just how well he spoke English, but how well spoken he was and
Yeah.
he seems like a leader just as far as the way he talks about the team and the way it's being built. He's very much like even though he's kind of a young player and an attacking player, usually they're kind of like the quiet, just I'm just gonna score goals and be amazing. Like he was really talking about how the team is developing, making these important passes and moves and developing as like a group and a culture in a way that you just don't usually expect from a forward. So I am excited to see Marcus and Vartson.
Yeah, I mean, not the youngest, right? He's 29, so but at the same time, he's young in the MLS, right? He's
Yeah.
new to the MLS, so it's going to be interesting. He was one of the first signings, so I can see him kind of taking on that leadership role himself, which is great to have players that take that initiative. I mean, I would not want a player that comes in and just kind of stands on the side and just kind of like kicks the ball around and doesn't really be outspoken like that. I mean, if you're going to be wearing number 7 for your team, you better be one of those top players there. That 7 has a big weight of players.
And the thing about it too is that, and this is the conversation I want to have with him and both Yeppe and Invarsen, is what's that responsibility like? Because you're tasked with not only being a leader in your team, but you're tasked with being a leader and teaching and helping bring along these world class players to learn the style that you want to go ahead and implement. Marcus Invarsen is going to be important by helping everybody understand where they need to be. Maybe he himself isn't going to be the one executing every time. Same thing with Sverskov. He's going to have to be the model and the prototype of what SDFC is going to be implementing on the defensive end. That's something that's still, up in the air and has a lot of questions. Here's some footage courtesy of San Diego FC of this last week, and this what was on that Friday, I do believe, where you start again seeing just intentional drills, intentional looking movements. There isn't a lot of direction. It's just kind of feeling everybody out. It's really understanding what everybody's tendencies are. Is being able to kind of have that in the back of your mind of, okay, if I pass to this player in this situation under pressure, I'm okay to trust them because they're good on the ball with both the left and the right. If I'm the goalkeeper, I need to make sure that I have the voice and I can make myself known and move my defense and put them in specific spots. If I'm good at
Aquí estoy yo.
Um, But yeah, that's kind of at this point where the feeling out process is for San Diego FC. Did you guys catch that FC Norseland Right to Dream? Just how they play video. That's literally just a documentation, and I think it's really interesting just to kind of look at this as far as because we asked what is this Right to Dream style of play and how does it go and this is literally just the blueprint of what they're going to be presenting and trying to have at Snapdragon Stadium.
As possible to get the ball, because when you have the ball, you score the goals.
One of our mantras is that you cannot expect to achieve your own dreams if you're not willing to help others with their dreams.
The purpose of our style of play is to develop players for the highest possible level.
The style of play is an idea, it's an intention.
طبعا اللي بيفرقنا من بقية الأندية أو بقية المنظومات إن إحنا أسلوب اللعب ده بيجري في كل مكان في
extremely aggressive. We're constantly wanting to be on the ball. So we want to have control.
Our competitive edge will definitely be our style of play. Our style of play is developed of two.
It's a good video, but when they actually start breaking down,
they will pass from the keeper or center back, and then from there, then we want to show
this kind of stuff. As far as like other teams, like how does this style play? Here, we're just gonna tell you right now, right here. Just this is exactly how we do it. That seems a little weird to me, doesn't it?
When we go high,
they're giving everybody the pass.
Yeah, opponents they will pass.
No, because at the end of the day, I mean, you can try to set your game up and how to stop this, but at the same time, this is just kind of like your basis of how you're going to start the game. A good coach will have tactics and ways to change it. And the thing is, they're giving us kind of like the tip of the iceberg, right, of their style of play. I'm sure there's more behind the scenes of like, well, if we see this team standing this way and they're high pressing us, this is how we're going to change our style a little bit to counter that. So at least I hope that they do that, because I do also find like, okay, you're just giving away your tactics. But this is just kind of like the Right to Dream style of play, right? I mean, it's not the name, but at the same time, it's important to learn this style. I mean, I'm grateful that they dropped this fees, and who knows how many teams actually pay attention to this as well. As SDFC could have maybe a little bit of a different style. Probably not.
No, I mean, just like that's a big question as far as our defense, right? There, SDFC and Right to Dream and FC Norseland are like, yes, we're going to play vertically. We're going to go ahead, like these big words and that really mean nothing at the end of the day when you're down 2-0 and you just have to throw everything at that kitchen sink at the opponent. But defensively, they tend to go ahead and do a high press, and not just a high press up and in one way. They like to split everything into almost quadrants and then make small games out of every situation where the opponent has to go ahead and cross or just essentially boot the ball over the entire pressing side, and then that can lead to interceptions, that can lead to anticipations. That can then, boom, switch into a quick counterattack, a quick play, because everybody's already in position to not only defend, but they're in that same position to go ahead and be the first attackers right then and there. But no, it's a really interesting video that I recommend. That's actually on the FC Right to Dream site.
To answer
YouTube.
this question for Ivan, I have a question from what we saw last week. How good is this team? Can this be a playoff team? Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're missing a couple pieces still. And I will say this, and I think I mentioned it last week. The way SDFC is trying to build this team, the way Tyler Heaps is trying to build this team, it is going to either be a wow factor. It's going to change the game. It's going to be, whoa, SDFC are geniuses for finding all this hidden talent and a bunch of nobodies, and they have a super team now. Or it's going to be the laughing stock of the league. I think right now that's kind of like my take on it. It's going to be interesting to see what the announcement is on Wednesday, whether it's another DP signing on Anders Dreyers, which I think would elevate the game a lot. I don't know. I mean, as of now, I think they're still missing players, and that's something that the team keeps telling us over and over. They're still missing a couple players. I think with what they have right now, if they were to field the game and And just in general, I don't think. Sorry, yeah, I chopped my words up a bit.
No, I think they can be a playoff team just because of how many teams make the playoffs in the MLS, and frankly, every major sport in the U.S. nowadays. But I think they can make the playoffs, or at least a play-in game, having that kind of chance. But it's going to be close.
The Western Conference is tough.
Yeah, we actually did this exercise in a Spanish version that we're gonna go ahead and drop of Sunday Punto Football and talking with our pal in Morvilla, and it's actually the conversation we had, right? Like it's a tough side, Chiva. You were talking about the West Side being tough,
but when you have like a specific culture and structure that you're following, I think it's gonna work out well for you. Just compared to other MLS teams where it's just kind of throwing things at the wall, you don't really see like culture and stuff in a lot of these MLS teams. It's just kind of switching back and forth, getting lucky. Other than like LAFC, Seattle, Salt Lake, like they're probably mainstays, I'd say, in those top few playoff spots. And Galaxy now at this point probably going to be there too. But if you could just get in that top 9, it's very possible for San Diego FC.
You have to win more than half of your games, and I think that's going to be something tough for SDFC. Don't get me wrong; they could potentially surprise everyone and just go top of the table like that. You never know; anything can happen in soccer, and that's the beauty of soccer, right? But I mean, as of now, with the way it's looking, you hear other big names that other teams could potentially. I mean, there's rumors that Neymar may be landing in Chicago Fire, right? And just with other players, I mean, Inter Miami just literally destroyed America yesterday.
Let's play this game. If Neymar joins the MLS, does he play more than half of the games?
No.
Probably not. No. Messi didn't even play half the games for Inter Miami.
And he got MVP. I don't think Neymar would make that much of a difference. Obviously, attention-wise, noise-wise, and he's going to make a play you've probably never seen before, making like the American players look kind of dumb. But I don't think Neymar is at his prime or anywhere near it.
I mean, no. I mean, he's not. He's way past his prime. And I mean, he got a couple injuries over there and in Saudi Arabia. But I mean, Tony, you guys were there Friday. You got to talk to a bunch of players. I mean, we saw the interviews on social media. You said your favorite was Aníbal
was good. Emma Boateng was really good. Chucky.
Abe, did you have a favorite?
You saw Marcus, it in Boston, right? I like talking to the goalkeeper, Pablo Cisnegas. He was kind of quiet, short with his answers, but you could tell he was just like one of those goalkeepers.
Wait, so like Tony said earlier today, we were talking with Emor, and Emor was there also on Monday and Friday, but he said based on his conversations with the coaches that it looks like the starting goalkeeper is going to be CJ Dos Santos.
Yeah.
And that's 100% what SDFC is going with. And so far, that's pretty much two of the main starters that they're going to have. CJ Dos Santos on the goal and Chucky Lozano. So
yeah, that is...
The goalkeeper hunt is over for sure.
Wow. I thought there would be a little bit more competition. The way Pablo spoke about it, he's kind of taken like, he's one of the older goalkeepers, so he sees himself as like the leader of the group and just kind of mentoring the younger guys. But it was nice to talk to him. I would love to hear from CJ Dos Santos, see what kind of goalkeeper he is. Sometimes you have the quiet goalkeeper, the one that's just shouting and yelling all game. I'm sure Tony thinks he's probably better than him for some reason. Even though he's way past his prime. He's losing to people. And
Pablo Cisnegas does have the most experience. He's 29. I mean, barely reaching your prime. Yeah, I beat you at foot tennis. So I mean, he's a goalkeeper. That's why he's not that good.
Why would I be so good with legs?
There's some good age range now in this roster.
Yeah.
I mean, the oldest player is Aníbal Godoy, 35. The youngest player is Anissa Saidi, 16. But a lot of 20-year-olds, late 20-year-olds in this roster, I think they're building a very young, competitive team within the team, right?
Where you think?
Okay. Let what roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Roll it, play the clip. Roll the clip.
Oh, roll the clip. Clip is rolling, guys. Here you go.
Take us through what this first week has been at training for you.
Yeah, it's been really good. We started we were in last Saturday for testing, and then last Saturday and Sunday for testing, and then we were out in the grass Monday. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good to meet all the lads, the staff, and yeah, it's a great place to come and train every day. I mean, the facilities are amazing.
And then obviously the first week, it's a lot of getting to know other players and the coaching staff and technical aspects of that. Well, what has that been like a challenge coming back from the holidays? Has it been easy to just ease into training once again?
Yeah, well, I finished late December. I was in England, so for me it hasn't been too much of a transition. But yeah, no, it's been good to meet all the lads. It's new for me. It's the first time I've played in America, so yeah, it's so far so good.
And then obviously having the experience in Europe, coming now to America, what does that excite you in bringing your style and European style of play here to the US?
Yeah, it's obviously I played a lot of games for clubs and countries, so yeah, it's so far it doesn't really feel too much difference. I'd say the facilities are really good, and all the lads are top lads, so yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Paddy McNair, the first interview actually of the day. He came out of the training room, and the vibes are real. The training room looks fantastic, as you can hear. Just Eminem's "Till I Collapse" is playing in the background as players are doing their gym work and getting on the bikes and transitioning from the outdoor play indoors. But again, like there's a lot of experiences, there's a lot of feeling out processes that are happening with the players and each other. Again, if they want to go ahead and be competitive with just getting it done, San Diego FC for the first couple of games has to identify that they just might need to win or just be competitive in the ugliest of ways and be scrappy and just not try to play any sort of attractive football. Just, you know what? If it's a defensive, just foul fest, then you get a 0-0 tie against the Galaxy in their first game. I think that's a win. I think if you a tie, getting a point out of that game would be fantastic and essential. But yeah, no, Paddy McNair, part of this team, and it's really cool seeing how the players themselves are acclimating in different ways. There are players who say like, yeah, no, I vacationed in San Diego. I'm familiar with this. I used to be in LA in the case with Emma. So he's familiar with this area as well. But yeah, thoughts?
I think that this is going to be an interesting project. We're never going to hear about like the bad things that, especially this early on, we're not going to hear about anything like crazy happening, but San Diego is a destination. They all seem happy to be here, but like they're not going to give us much until the season starts. And I can't believe we're already doing score predictions for LA Galaxy. Like, are you crazy right now?
No, I mean, no, I'm not. That is not a score prediction. That is a truth that if they win or get points out of that game, whatever the score may be, that is a great start. Like as good of a start as 1-1, 5-5,
1-1.
1-1. Yeah, that's the best debut you could possibly ask outside of a win.
Okay.
I mean, literally not losing. I get it, but really being able to show that like there's enough talent in this team, just raw, unrefined talent that can take it to the champions. Even then, you can give all the excuses you want. Well, it's the championship hangover, and it's the first game, and so and so's not here in the squad anymore. The morale is not as hyped up because Ricky Puig, isn't pushing. You won the championship, and his injury, the players really rallied around, and they were holding his jersey, and all these different elements that really put it together, and you have a crazy run for LA Galaxy that yielded a championship for them. But that's kind of what I think. We'll get into some more player interviews as it goes around, but Chiba.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you, Tony. If they pull off a tie on the first game ever, I think it's a big deal, right? And then pulling off a win at their first home game would be amazing. But we're gonna get to see them in preseason in Coachella, so that'll tell us a lot as well about their play style and what they have. By then, they should have a fuller roster than what they do now. So, yeah, stay tuned with San Diego FC news because, I mean, every day is a day of news for soccer in San Diego, whether it's from San Diego FC or San Diego Wave.
I'm excited about the San Diego Wave talk. Are you guys, this news, all this crazy stuff?
There's breaking news.
I'm ready for some San Diego Wave talk. Do we have everything for San Diego FC? Are we ready to move on from this?
Are we ready to move on from San Diego FC?
I think we're ready. If there's anything out there, let us know in the chat. We can respond, talk about it.
I mean, again, we like to go ahead and just be like the club. Let's talk about players that are here in the squad, like that are currently in the squad. I was thinking about this, and I was talking to Chiva about it, like the news breaking business. And did you see Tom Bogert get called out
for what?
About stealing breaking news?
He stole
So there's this news outlet that tagged them on a photo or something of a player potentially joining SDFC today, and he replied, "Stop tagging me on photos, bro," or something like that. And then they just clapped back and said, "Oh, we're just," I think it's right there. Yeah, that one. They just said, "We're giving you more news that you can steal," or something like that.
I like Tom Bogert. Usually,
Yeah, he's a good
I
guy.
like Tom Bogert too. So
yeah, Yasir Asani, a Moroccan player, I remember to join San Diego FC. Like, oh,
stop tagging me in photos.
yeah, no,
dog.
and then people went after Tommy B's for that. So yeah, just interesting time. Let's go SDFC. I do know that, that the Borders group is coming together. Because again, it's right around the corner, getting some practice done. So good on them. Shout out to the soon to be newly named Independent Supporters Union.
I saw that San Diego will come up with a new name.
I would love for them just to go rogue, and just the
Go
first
back.
game is La Raza, and it's like some sort of La
Is
Raza
the team
banner.
going to have a say in this now or no?
I mean, it sounds like they do no matter what.
I mean,
because they changed their name
they
the
did it
first time.
once.
So
They already that's already hand in cookie jar.
We'll see.
First goal, first win on March 1st. All right, so what Cisco's saying is a tie or a loss for the first game.
You're saying they
on
don't
March
score against
on
LA
February,
Galaxy.
on February
That's what I'm hearing here.
21st. So best case scenario for Cisco is a 0-0 tie on February 23rd at Dignity Health Sports Park for that. Interesting. Okay.
I think they lose. I'll say something different than you guys. I think they'll.
Yeah, and as time progresses and you start again seeing this team come together, because let's be honest, there is some really good talent on San Diego FC. There's some really good raw talent, and it's a lot of, I think you said it last week, Chiba, it's a island of misfit toys in a way that it's a lot of different aspects coming together. You have people who have experience in the MLS, people who have experience overseas. Good, just raw talent, Chucky. Maybe Dreyer.
They're finding hidden gems. I mean, at least that's what it's looking like, and if it works out, it's going to be amazing. So right now it's just a waiting game. Let them get some training, let them get into match shape and just fitness overall, and we'll see what they have when the season starts.
One last thing on San Diego FC. You guys see this?
I did see this. I should have said this.
San Diego FC is saying, "Hey, flow with us forever. Become a season ticket member by February 16th to be a part of history and have your name in a permanent spot on our founding member wall in Snapdragon Stadium."
Oh wow!
So this is a pretty empty wall. It's on the way to like those elevators when you can see because it's like right next to the zoo club or whatever. This is cool. It makes me even more mad at the Wave for not doing something like this. When they won a supporters shield, we talked about this with Ryan. They have no flag flying for the championship that they won. Casey Stoney said they won the league, and they have no banner, no way to show that there's history. That's the one thing in sports that you have is like you have history. Okay, that makes
a trophy cabinet.
You have legacy. Okay, you walk into LA Galaxy Stadium, you see like open cups, you see golden balls, you'll see these MLS cups from like years past. It's cool. When the Wave don't have that, when they are such a young team and you can already like show that you have history, it's such a dumb thing. The Wave should be doing better, I think, on doing things like this, of creating like permanent establishments at Snapdragon Stadium.
Maybe SDSU charges a lot for this.
Probably, but if you're San Diego Wave, you got to be upset and thinking to yourself, man, we need a place for our own, or a spot in Snapdragon where we're going to be spending most of our time to like show what kind of history is they've created so far.
Yeah, but it's like putting a permanent thing on an apartment that you rent. Like putting like a fresco inside of a wall that you're not owning.
I mean, San Diego FC is doing the same thing, right? Like they don't own this.
No, they don't.
No one owns.
And my thing with this is that I don't. Sure, it's a great idea and everything because the Padres and Petco Park have the bricks and people's names on them. Like
those are
that's
cool.
really cool. Those are excellent. But then who can be added to the founding member wall? Anybody who has purchased more than one. So people who purchase one $10,000 season ticket will not be on this placard. They have to buy two. Anybody with 2+.
I think most people own two because you go into the game. A lot of people go to the games by themselves, which is cool.
You'd be shocked actually how many people are solo dolos out there.
It's cool. I love going to sports solo dolo. That was all I did in Oregon.
But all right. So yeah, that's kind of what we have today. Again, we'll continue and have more news and coverage for San Diego FC as the week goes. Again, on Wednesday, we'll have coverage from the SDFC San Diego FC global headquarters in Little Italy. So stay tuned to that. A lot of exciting times for that. So that again has been San Diego. Because Japan.
Oh. It is time to talk about San Diego Wave because there's a lot of talk about San Diego Wave as their preseason is ramping up and getting closer than ever.
Yep.
A lot of moves.
The second team, the first team in Snapdragon, the second team in terms of,
you know what?
No. Priority. The second team in terms of priority. No, third team.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The third team out of 4 teams that gets priority.
Who's the fourth team?
I don't know.
Rugby's
SDFC
not
soccer.
there anymore.
There's those 3 teams. You're right. So now, well, I mean,
rugby moved back to USD.
I'll move motocross and Monster Jam.
Shakira's gonna be there,
bro.
Shakira.
We should go to that. We got to find out how to sneak in.
I was actually talking with the San Diego State just at the chefcito. There's a particular cook that is always in the media area, and he's the jolliest fella, and he's so proud of what he does, and he loves his job, and you see him in those hot days, and he's sweating, and he's bringing and providing, and he looks at you when you eat, and you can look at him and it's like, oh, this is good, and then he's like,
he's making sure. Yeah, he's making sure. He does that to you more than everyone else, though, which is
Yeah, no, 100%. He's gonna be like, oh, you didn't like my food? Oh, it's my mission to plump you back up.
Plump you back up.
Yeah, they probably they saw you eating like the little tiny cup when you're on your diet. He was just like, damn.
Yeah, just like what? Just
he
go
only
back,
ate the cilantro. What
just
is
go
he
back sad, like oh. No, but they told me that they're the same people that cater during concerts.
Yeah.
So they're there, and sometimes in concerts they just go to the media press box and watch the concerts from there, which is actually really cool. But all right, San Diego Wave is next because there is a lot of San Diego Wave. If they move out of Snapdragon, just move with Wave. Move somewhere. Soccer specific. Move to a soccer specific stadium. How about that?
All right, San Diego
How about
Wave.
that?
San Diego
Soccer-specific.
Wave. A lot of player announcements.
Soccer specific.
Do we want to start with those, or do we want to start with the elephant in the room?
What'd you call me? Okay. Let's talk about what's here. Right? We can talk about what's not here or potentially
right
not
now.
here as of very soon in the
All right,
San
let's
Diego
start
Wave.
with the first news. Jaden Shaw no longer part of San Diego Wave.
That is a very big loss. You lost one of the best young American players in the league, in the country, in the world. It's a sad day for San Diego. I think that you can't convince a player like that to stay. But I mean, when she requests a trade, you ultimately had to trade her at some point. Otherwise, it could have gotten bad, just chemistry wise, everything wise. So it had to happen, but at the same time, if you weren't so incompetent last season, maybe she wouldn't have requested a trade.
So what we've learned is that Shaw had actually requested this trade, and they'd actually requested it relatively early in the season. Actually, when as we learned, when Casey Stoney was still at the helm of San Diego Wave. So this was very early on. She was frustrated. Again, she was injured for a lot of the year. There was a lot of fitness issues. She was coming back from already nursing an injury, being used a lot by the U.S. Women's National Team in Gold Cup. There was a lot of miles there for still a young player. But then again, like a player who then faces the worst, situation possible where you just can't score. Like the team and her, she just could not score for the life of her. And again, it's a lot of the setup, the lack of a midfield, the lack of a real identity, of a play style, turmoil on and off the field. Either way, Jaden Shaw no longer a member of the San Diego Wave. We did discuss it a little bit as a rumor, but I think the day after was when it became official that they got $300,000 in allocation money and $150,000 in intra-league transfer funds, along with a 2025 and 2026 international slot in exchange for midfielder Jaden Shaw to the NC Courage.
It's a big transfer. It's 300 in the women's game. 300,000 is a big chunk of cash, right, Abe?
Yes, and yeah, plus that extra 150, you could technically call it 450. But yeah, that is a very big transfer, big get for North Carolina too, who kind of were missing that final spot in their midfield. They had a good like high pressing attack that like Landon Donovan kept talking about last season. I don't know if you guys remember that. He was like, "Oh, I love North Carolina. That's how we want to play." And now Jaden Shaw, who was on Donovan's team, is gonna go play as part of that team. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, so big piece of business right there for San Diego Wave. Yes,
she was the 4th highest selling jersey for the Wave for the NWSL last season.
Yeah,
that is a big thing when it comes to just marketability and showing who you are as a team. Like when those little girls out there or anyone out there, if they're seeing who's playing, they just go like, "Oh, I you know who that player? Oh, that she's really good. I want that jersey." Like you miss that. Now no one's gonna get Alex Morgan, Jaden Shaw, and then now you have a third player who might be leaving. And those are the top 3 selling jerseys for the team.
It's crazy to think that maybe Wave didn't fight hard enough to try to keep Jaden Shaw, but if the player's already checked out, there's really so much you can do, and just kind of fulfill that for the player. At the end of the day, if I'm a coach, if I'm a GM, why would I want to keep a player that doesn't want to play in this team? Because you can convince them and pay them more and whatnot to stay with the team. But if this player's already has that in their mindset, they're gonna want to leave eventually. So Jaden Shaw no longer part of San Diego Wave. Abe, you no longer get to piss her off in Wave press conferences. Maybe for the U.S. Women's National Team.
Maybe
she believes Cup. You should ask
fun.
her the same thing.
Oh, that would.
You should
amazing.
literally ask her the same thing.
No, we gotta ask her why she requested a trade. I think it's fair.
There was a post, an advertisement post that San Diego Wave made after this announcement, and it was with Jaden Shaw in it to promote like season memberships. And the comments were grilling San Diego Wave, saying, "Really, you would post this when you've already announced Shaw as a player that's leaving?" So I don't know. Do we want to dive into the next rumor?
I think it's fair to talk about Naomi now. That it's
all right.
Naomi Girma is being rumored by multiple outlets, Equalizer, some outlets in the UK, that she is going to be transferred to a European team for a record transfer fee, either Chelsea or Lyon. Also, Arsenal, I think, was rumored.
Yeah.
So that is a humongous deal as far as Naomi Girma potentially leaving San Diego Wave.
It's a big rumor. It is a record-breaking transfer fee. I'm here to tell you that most likely Naomi Girma is leaving, and we've been alluding to this. If Wave is playing this bad, what keeps Naomi Girma from wanting to stay in San Diego? When you can experience the game abroad, when you can experience playing in one of the best teams in the world with Chelsea or Lyon. I'm surprised Barcelona is not in the mix, to be honest, but Naomi Girma is one of the world's best players, and San Diego Wave is just a small team in the world. San Diego Wave is nowhere near the top 10 teams in the world right now. I'm pretty sure there are some NWSL teams that are in that top 10 rank in the women's
I think you
game.
could say that about Gotham, Washington.
Yeah, so San Diego Wave's not there, and if you're not the best, you're not gonna have one of the best players in the world. So it only makes sense for Naomi Girma to want out, to be able to play either at Chelsea or Lyon. Tony, what do you think of all this? $1 million for Naomi Girma. It's only fair.
So, as of last Wednesday, from what I heard from different sources, a couple sources, was that Naomi was 50-50 on whether she would leave or stay at San Diego Wave. Since then, it looks more and more, and again, different sources point to it just being inevitable. Within the next couple of days, it will be announced that Naomi Girma will no longer be part of San Diego Wave. And so again, a huge loss in a lot of different ways. You just lose a generational player for the various different reasons that you're talking about, Abe, as far as just like jersey sales, just like thinking about season tickets, thinking about the team itself, right? And what that's going to look like. It's a literal blank slate for Jonas Heideval, who's coming in and getting been given a team built by Camille Ashton, the general manager for San Diego Wave, and just said, here, go. Like, this is what you have now. And you're not going to have a great asset like Naomi Girma moving forward.
Blank slate is a really nice way to put it. I don't think I'd put it like that. I think this cements San Diego Wave as a truly San Diego team. They're selling their best player. Okay, it's dumb when you really think about it from a sports standpoint. Okay, they're selling their best player, the one that sells the most jerseys, the one that everyone's excited about, for money that like they're probably not going to invest back in the team. It is sad. Okay, you cannot lose a generational Hall of Fame player like Naomi Girma, one of the best in the world. It's just dumb. Okay, no matter what you can say, it's a record transfer fee. Oh, it's a big deal. It's just complete typical San Diego sports. Okay, they sold Jake Peavy, they sold Adrian Gonzalez, they sold all these players, sold LT, whatever you want to say. It's
I will say this. I don't hate the move for Wave if they do sell Naomi Girma, because it is a record transfer fee. I will say the women's game is growing, and there are more women and girls more than ever playing the game, and there's going to be more generational talent. There's going to be more Naomi Girmas. There's going to be more Jada Shaws. Trust me, Abe, there's going to be more players that like this that come out. The women's game is still fairly new. Back in the day, there was only one Pele, one Maradona, all these players, but then you had a Messi, you had a Ronaldo, now you have a Lamine Yamal. Like, you have all these different players coming up every now and then.
But Barcelona's not getting rid of Lamine Yamal and Messi. Real Madrid's not getting rid of Ronaldo when they're at their prime.
But
like,
I think Wave is at a point where they're like, you know what? Let's just get cash and start rebuilding. They had a horrible season. They're already signing a very promising center back, 17-year-old from UNC, Trinity Armstrong. She looks like she's also a generational talent. Don't tell me you don't think that. She's a freshman at UNC, and they won the championship, and now she's getting signed into the NWSL with San Diego Wave at only 17 years old.
Naomi Girma performed at the World Cup on a level that people haven't seen before. She was the only reason why they went as far as they did. One of the main reasons why they won the Olympic gold medal. Like, a lot of credit gets thrown to the triple espresso combo at the top, but without Naomi Girma holding that back line, like, the U.S. women's national team would be nowhere. The Wave would be nowhere without Naomi Girma. Alex Morgan could have scored all the goals she wanted those first 2 seasons. Without Naomi Girma holding that back line, I think it's a horrible move by the Wave, especially from new ownership too. You'd think you'd want to keep your most beloved player. You think you'd want to start that way at least. Like, Naomi Girma's not requesting a trade. At least maybe she wants to go or is leaning towards that way, but you got to do everything in your power to keep a player like this if you're new to ownership. Otherwise, you're just adding your name to a list of San Diego ownership groups that have just failed this city. And
why should it be any different in the women's game than in the men's game? If SDFC has a younger player, or they have a 23-year-old player that is known as one of the world's best, and it's going to be a record transfer fee to Barcelona or Lyon or anything like that, why is it expected that San Diego Wave should keep Naomi Girma and not ship this player into a higher league, which is just going to benefit the U.S. women's national team?
I don't think it's a higher league. I think the NWSL had the
I
chance.
disagree.
It can be the best league.
I don't think the NWSL
true.
league. I think there's better teams than a lot of the teams in the NWSL. I think Chelsea is one of those teams. I think Lyon is one of those. So you're going to be playing
different
with
leagues.
a lot. Yeah, I mean,
It's a better team. I don't know about a better league.
It's going to be better competitive wise within the own team alone.
Mm.
So, but I mean, my thing is, why is
Chelsea's
that
still winning
expectation different?
10-1 like
I think it's
weekend.
different because it's just a small market mentality. If you want to be among the greatest teams in the world, if you want to become the Chelseas and the Lyons of the world, you pay to keep players like Naomi Girma. You pay to keep players like Jaden Shaw. Like, it's sad that this is how we think as sports fans and people that like cover this. It's like, you know what, you're selling money, you're making money, whatever. And there's just, when you really think about it at base level, hey, you know what? This is our best player. Like, if you're playing on the playground, hey, our best player, you know what? Let's let him go play with the older kids.
Naomi Girma is the player that gives you a shot. Naomi Girma is the player that keeps you in the game and is literally a game changer in a way that you don't have to worry about the defense. You can have other players learn from her. You had Kennedy Wesley who was there besides her and learned quite a bit. And Girma cleaned up a lot of the defensive mistakes last year. And it wasn't the same in terms of attack for San Diego Wave at all. But you can always count on the defense will at least give it a shot. Between her and Sheridan getting it together. Now Sheridan is the last player I think to really kind of have that inaugural connection with the city.
Doniak,
yes, but let's be real, like just connection with that's the player that everybody's gonna look for. Right now it's Caitlin Sheridan. Adia Sanchez a little bit endearing with the fans. Mel B, I guess, still gets the biggest pop. Still kind of endearing herself. Still needs to prove a little bit more in that growth and development. Cascarino, I mean, just a superstar of a player, but nowhere near Jaden Shaw levels, nowhere near Girma levels of being a figure for this team. And I don't even know if potential just like legend. I mean, still think about players like Taylor Flint, like still thought about as a Wave player that left her legacy, left her mark in the city.
Naomi Girma was, to me, the type of player that could have gotten a statue outside Snapdragon Stadium. Genuinely. Like, Alex Morgan was here for a few years. She scored goals. But if Naomi Girma spent her whole career with the Wave, which has happened in the NWSL, a lot of players like have stayed. Megan Rapinoe stayed, and like Christine Sinclair stayed with the Thorns, and it could have happened, but it's just gonna be tough to see.
But then you see San Diego Wave with all the controversy that they've had and all the lawsuits and all this stuff off the field. Why do you think a player would want to play there, right? So especially a player that's one of the world's. But I agree with you guys. I think it's a huge miss from San Diego Wave. I do think, however, they're going to they can't find another generational talent. I think Trinity Armstrong, one of those potentially generational talent. She's only 17 years old. Yes, there's still time, but San Diego Wave is legit cooking this offseason. I think they're building a very interesting roster. I think they're building a roster of players that are still not proven. There's a lot of under 22 year olds in this team, but I think San Diego Wave are onto something here, and they're definitely trying to make moves, and they're doing something very different than the previous years.
We will be discussing this next week as we are slated to get our first appearance from head coach Jonas Eidebal through San Diego Football. We're going to go ahead and just ask him that. Like, what's the plan? What's, at this point, you may officially or not have more than likely Naomi Girma. So, what are you going to do, man? And go for it.
Yeah, I've asked this question to how many coaches have there been? 3 coaches now?
3 coaches.
Like, I've asked this question to all of them. How do you manage coaching young players as far as Kimi Escaño, Melin Barcenas? I think it's important to know how to develop these like teenagers. and now you're adding like more teenagers to the team, which is really fascinating. There's got to be a lot of trust from Camille Ashton and Jonas Eidevall to like develop this talent. When you have young talent, it obviously like you can tell like okay they can be good players, but you need to make sure that they're developing, learning the game the right way, and playing together well. So if you have so many young players, maybe it's like, hey, you know what? They don't know any better. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna go crazy. They're gonna be passing the ball like insane. They're gonna be high pressing. It's gonna be nuts. They don't care. They lost Naomi Girma. They're gonna be just destroying the field. But at the same time, the opposite could happen where you have a bunch of young players that don't have a strong veteran presence on the team. You're losing a Daniel Colaprico who was the like mainstay in the midfield. I mean, Mackenzie Doniak is probably the most veteran midfielder.
Then you ran her to the ground.
Yeah, she played every single position, and it's gonna be tough for the Wave, I think, to like develop this. But it's at least a strategy. Whereas last season, I don't really think we saw strategy.
Mhm.
We just saw like, okay, let's get Savannah McCaskill. She's good. Okay, yep. And then Maria Sanchez is available. Yeah, we need a forward. Okay, well let's get her. Like they wasn't a strategy. They just thought they had the ingredients already, and they could just throw it back. Hey, let's make the same meal we made. But now they're trying something different.
And if you get wins that way, that's fine. So I was talking with San Diego FC. If they go with that lack of strategy and they get results, that's what they have.
These are highlights provided by San Diego Wave on GR Corley. I mean,
so we're talking about now the new players, right? San Diego Wave FC announcing that the club acquired 22-year-old forward / midfielder Gia Corley as a transfer from the German Bundesliga side, the TSG Hoffenheim Frauen, the Frauen team.
She's showing off.
She's interesting. I mean, she was born in Tacoma, Washington, but she's plays for the German national team for their under 20. So, I mean, those are the appearances that she's made. But I mean, she's a player that's played abroad her whole life, and now she's coming to the NWSL. I mean, again, this could be one of those hidden gems, right? She's not the one that scored here. She's the one that says, I think this next one is going to be one of her goals coming up. But yeah, I mean, she's a player she's a solid 10. Like she's going to play the center attacking mid position. Like she's not the striker's type. She's right behind the striker. But she has good finishing abilities. She's only 22 years old. So I mean, she's taking number 11. She's taking Jaden Shaw's
already.
Number, so from my understanding is that she's going to be number 11. So
damn, cleaning house already. All right. Then it was announced by San Diego Wave that they signed defender and U.S. soccer young female player of the year nominee, Trinity Armstrong. We already talked about, to a 3-year contract through the 2027 season.
Fourth quarter now for
player. Who again, I've always said highlights are highlights for a reason. Don't really show the lowlights, but again, just like, hey, good position right there. That's worth as much as a goal to me. A goal line clearance.
That's a Naomi Girma type of save.
B-bar for Duke. Unsettled Walters pokes it.
A strong player who just will put their body on the line just to make sure that the ball does not travel. It's just chaos in the box right there. But again, this is the look of San Diego Wave coming forward, right? Another young team, very well read. On that slide tackle, very well timed.
So you can see it. Like she's a pacey center back.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can definitely, as of now, maybe not a starting position, but if she earns that starting position, 17 years old is very young still. But if she proves herself to just kind of like be a little more mature in that center back line and not get too pressured, I mean, I could see her starting if Naomi Girma does leave.
And you don't see a lot of young defenders in the NWSL. Like 17 years old, like she's played in college, but Naomi Girma played 4 years in college. She had a 5th year, I think, with COVID too. So she came in at like 23, 24 years old. So she was already a much more developed player. Like 17 versus she came in at 22?
22, 21. She's 24 right now.
24 right now. Okay. So, but that's 4 year. That's a big difference.
No, she played all 4 years at Stanford. So, I mean, she already had that experience of wearing the captain armband over there. So, it is a huge loss. But I mean, again, you're getting players. Cynthia Cabezas, who is supposedly a Colombian rising star. She is Colombian.
She is Colombian for sure.
No,
supposedly Colombian. Some would say.
Not. I mean,
not
like
the
a rising star. She's going to be on loan to Lexington SC this season, so she won't be with San Diego Wave this
That's
season.
an interesting, just like for the future move that I kind of like, where you get a player that, you know what, you're not going to play this year, but we're going to bring you to the US so you can learn maybe like American culture, American style of soccer. So that way she's going to be in the USL playing against players that probably are at like a level that she can handle and develop more and more. And then next year join the NWSL, probably be a substitute player or just eventually building themselves into a starter.
And hey, I think finally some midfielders that are actual midfielders. San Diego Wave announced that Favor Emanuel to a 2-year deal through 2026 with a mutual addition to 2027 will be added to Wave's 2025 roster pending medical and receipt of international transfer certificate. But again, great, like midfield, awesome.
Yeah, we have some highlights from her that were provided by Wave. Little tapping goal.
Little tapping goal. Again, goals are good to see by San Diego Wave players. Over in Russia, right?
I believe
that's that alphabet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's not locomotive, it's the other one.
SDFC Locomotive Moscow. Yeah, Russian.
Oh, it was locomotive?
Yeah, it's locomotive. That's where she's coming from.
Back.
Nice. I love how the goalkeepers were yelling at those defenders, even though they couldn't have done anything to stop that.
No, 100%. You got to blame somebody. I empathize with the goalkeeper there, actually. But again, as you can see, just a powerful player that isn't afraid to take a shot on goal and can really be a factor. And that's what San Diego Wave was missing a lot. Hey, I love that sign. No beer. No beer, guys.
I wonder what happened. Something had to have happened.
Something had to have happened. And for it being in Russia, just insert whatever in there. But yeah, so you got it. Another goal here. So again, goals are good to see, but how are they going to go ahead and move and transition and really be a part of the attack that they're building? So these are questions for Jonas Heideval, as we hopefully have him coming soon. And
there was another announcement, and this one's more of a player that a lot of people that have been following the league know. Didi Rasik.
They announced it at the Angel City games as Heracek.
Yeah. Like Kovacic.
Pulisic.
Yeah. Tranquilo.
Okay. But
rotated as a starter, right? For
yeah, she was mostly a starter. She got like not last season, but I think the season before, towards the end of the season, there was a lot of just conversation about maybe she shouldn't have the starting job. There was a little bit back and forth there, but she's definitely going to play behind Kaylin Sheridan, I think, at this point. But it also, you never know. Maybe Kaylin Sheridan's next player out.
Yeah, maybe. Oh my God, Abe.
Like, she's a good enough player that she can start for an NWSL team. Didi Heracek is a good enough player that she can start for an NWSL team. So if you have a scenario where maybe a Kaylin Sheridan is like, you know what, I stand with Casey Stoney, my new head coach at Canada. I'm going to leave the Wave. I'm going to go up to a team in Canada or something like that. So you never know. I think this is a good move, though. You always want
a great move.
Depth at goalkeeper. Hillary Beale was solid as a backup.
Now you have a solid backup, and you have a solid third option as well.
Exactly. Hillary Beale is your Emily Van Egmond.
Well, Hillary Beale broke her foot kicking up goalpost. Okay,
after saving a great penalty, let her celebrate. Jeez,
yeah. You kick a goalpost. Come on, kick the ball.
No, this is a great signing, but I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, Wave is definitely gearing up for a very tough season, but they're gearing up for the future as well, which is something that you want to see from a team. I mean, yes, Naomi Girma, it's not official. It's a big rumor. Tony pretty much saying that it will happen in the coming days. Anything can happen. There's a chance that Naomi Girma just doesn't go anywhere this season. Do I think she stays long-term with Wave? No. I think if she stays one more season and then she's out of here.
That's another thing too. If you're at the summer transfer window and you've lost the last few of your games, you're not looking great, she's without a doubt going to be gone.
Yeah. So anything can happen, and we'll see what happens, Tony.
Naomi
¿Qué traes,
Girma
güey?
is an awesome player, and I don't think we get to talk to her enough in the press conferences.
Yeah, no, they
Usually
hid
we
her
do.
from us.
Yeah.
No, it's just because they always want to talk to the player that scored a goal, whoever the attacking player is, the captain. Savannah McCaskill for some reason.
Or if you're McNabb.
Kristen McNabb, who is still in the team.
Woo!
So
He signed
as
an
of now,
extension.
this is where the team is looking like for
Okay.
San Diego Wave. They have Kaylin Sheridan. They have Trinity Armstrong on defense. They have Naomi Girma. They have Trinity Byers, who they signed this offseason as well, coming from Texas. Hannah Lunsvik is still in the team. Maria Sanchez is still in the team.
Caitlin Torpy.
Caitlin Torpy is still in the team. You have the new signing, Chiamaka Okwochukwu, which she's going by her middle name. What was her middle name?
Adrienne?
No, Luciana. No,
I forgot. We're gonna have to look at the email.
Isabel.
Gia Corley, Kennedy Wesley, Kristen McNabb is still in the team. Mackenzie Doniak still in the team. Caitlin Torpy, as mentioned, Kimi Ascanio, Maya Jones, Delphine Cascarino, Savannah McCaskill, Hillary Bio, Pavor Emmanuel, Melanie Barcenas, Quincy McMahon, coming from UCLA, right? Pearl Moroni and Didi. Yeah. So
it's
pretty. It has good depth.
We can say that, but they were near the bottom of the table last season. Like, how much can we expect from these new players to help this team gel in a way that they didn't last year when they had a Jaden Shaw on this team, or they had like strong, just a longer time together, and now these new players are going to kind of like fix it. It's interesting depth. I think it's a plan.
New tactics, new ownership, no more lawsuits, no more
There's still
toxic
lawsuits.
environment. Maybe you never know. I mean, it feels like a clean slate for San Diego Wave, and
hope it's a clean field.
Maybe,
hopefully,
maybe.
Jeez,
depends on how SDFC leaves it on the Saturday night before their game.
Well, She Believes Cup first.
She Believes Cup this
Then
summer.
SDSU.
Oh no, February.
February. Hope it doesn't rain again in February.
I hope it rains. Fires.
It
in
might
LA.
rain.
A couple of fires in LA.
I hope it does rain for that, but during those games, if there's another torrential
Cristobal
downpour,
was the name. Thank you, Brandon.
Cristobal. Shout out.
Thank you.
Shout out to Brandon, who was the first kick at the Front Wave Arena soccer's game this last Saturday. Him and Esteban, getting it done.
Local content creators.
Absolutely.
Baller crew.
That's actually how they were introduced. I'm glad the San Diego Soccers can recognize local talent and not have to ship it down here from LA.
I love that.
Or elsewhere.
Shout out Soccers for that.
100%.
Soccers are the great of the week.
Maybe,
Which is a great
actually.
transition, I guess. Is there anything else, San Diego Wave? We talked about all the players.
I
It's
would
gonna
love
be
to talk
rumor.
about their schedule and what that.
But
is gonna
that's
look
not
like.
out yet, Abe.
Oh, what? It's not.
It's not out yet.
How am I supposed to know when I'm gonna cover these games?
We might find out next week.
I didn't know you had that.
Yeah, he didn't either. No, he did.
I had to look for it.
Maybe there won't be a season. You know what? That's why the schedule hasn't released.
There won't be season.
Season
Just
canceled.
Season canceled.
Seasoned greeted. Season closed.
Stupid.
Se acabó.
Hell yeah, Brandon. But all right. So that does lead us to our final and good segment here that we do goals, gaffes, and grades, where we talk about a goal, a gaff, and a grade of this last weekend that we have pre-selected, and sometimes people send us stuff. Goals, gaffes, and greats. And, it's been a big week. We're going to continue coverage for San Diego FC and San Diego Wave as it rolls together tomorrow. Soccer's overtime. We cover that with Craig Elston. Again, that's I like this. There's separation there. But we'll mention some soccers here. Did you like being in the middle of an OSHA violation over at the Singing Hills? It's an active construction site. Like it's
Yeah.
not okay for people to be there. Like I'm glad I'm there. Not saying it that way, but it's a liability.
I've been around that like my whole life just because like my dad's worked and stuff like that. So I am used to walking around stuff. But just seeing all these like humongous cameras and tripods like walk through and then like you hear the drill too in some of the backgrounds of the audio. Like it's fun. I think it's cool. It seems just like, oh, we still gotta work. There's the players I like walking through, like people that are doing construction. Sometimes you'll see like the construction people taking pictures or videos of the players just because they think it's cool too. Like I think it's all right. It's fun.
All right, yeah.
And then Chiva's neighbor works there too. Yeah.
No, so fun story. My girlfriend's sister's wife
Time out.
family. My girlfriend's sister's wife's family
Okay.
owns a construction like company, and they're the construction company hired to do the Right to Dream, to remodel all the hotel rooms and everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
So your girlfriend's sister's wife's family member lives above you.
I mean, her uncle.
Story's falling
above
apart,
me.
Chiva.
Yeah.
Story's falling apart, bro.
Here's our goal of the presented by Esco Club. A golazo.
You know,
That was presented.
just an absolute masterclass. Bobbing and weaving through the 5-hole. The own music to go along with it. Todo americanista. Check out Esco Club de Fútbol.
That's what I looked in real life too.
All fucking cold ball. Kind of. What? Let's go ahead and take care of this child. That guy didn't even try. A little bit of pressure here.
Next goal.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, this will count. Oh yeah. Esco Club de Fútbol, goal of
Shout
the
out.
week. Shout
That's a
out.
Good goal.
Um,
Anyone can send us goals out there, by the way. We can see whatever. Sometimes there's not a lot happening in the world of like San Diego soccer, especially with no games right now. So if there's anything out there, you guys can always send it to us.
Well, you know what? We do goals and gaffes and grades, but we don't always do saves. But we actually have a save of the week this week. Sent in by Romeo the goalkeeper, 2013. Well, nifty little goal here.
Oh,
save. As you can see, 1v1 is his specialty. His signature. Okay, there's a signature move for goalkeeper. Counting more to the left-hand side. That is San Diego Punto Futbol's save of the week.
Grade of the week.
Save of the week. Honorable gaff, me missing the pass to kick his soccer's game. Yeah, he tried to do a little fancy like and went that way.
Man.
It's all good.
Brandon, you fucking suck.
Nobody was watching. But yeah, shout out there. Gaff of the week will take me a little bit, but talking about Singing Hills and the OSHA violations, Abe,
we should be wearing hard hats anytime we go.
We should be wearing hard hats, which is why I only go when I'm loud. Tiva, you were asking a question to Abe before this episode started that was going to be answered on this episode.
Oh,
yes.
I forgot that.
So
I forgot to
all
think
right,
about
while
that.
Tony looks for the gaff because it's going to be a fun gaff, and Tony has a background
Unfortunate.
story on this.
Unfortunate.
Abe, you got to go on Monday to the media availability with me. You got to go on Friday with Tony. My question to you is, who was your favorite person? Who was your favorite ball to go to this media availability?
So on the first day that I went with you, we stood next to each other while we were doing the interviews. It was only 3 interviews, so it wasn't too much that we needed to be spread out. For when I went with Tony, we weren't together the whole time. We didn't talk much, but we did wait a little bit. And I'll say this time around, it switches, but this time around, it was Tony.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Chiva.
All right.
It was
Not
Tony this time around.
Not salty at all.
Why?
Why was it Tony? I think maybe it was because I didn't have to stand around him the whole time. But in reality, he was doing these little like while we were waiting in the area, he was just like dancing by himself. Like usually he's like talking to people and like networking and doing all that cool stuff. He did that a little bit, but he was doing like these little dances and just being a little weird. It was funny to watch. He was doing like the Brock Lesnar warm up thing.
You always see me do that. Like when it's just me, it's just like
dun dun
cool.
dun dun.
About to talk. I know, like right. This is what I look like. This is what I look like in the booth at soccer games. When it's a play, I'm just like this. I'm just like this. I'm watching like this, and just like, all right, cool. I'm at the game. Like, stools, hip movement, being kinetic.
I take it back, Chiba. It was much more fun being there with you.
Thank you. We'll be there on Wednesday.
I just said Tony to not hurt his feelings.
Oh, okay.
His feelings hurt.
All
I
right.
get what you're saying.
All right. So gaff of the week. So we already did the goal. We already did the great. We haven't done the great, but we'll do the gaff. What? I'm surprised that wasn't me, honestly. Like it is like whole like that didn't come from me. All right. So gaff of the week. Obviously, very much into the MASL as I
Wait, no liabilities on sacred
yeah,
ground.
no. Ain't oh man.
Oh, that's the best comment tonight. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we might get hurt and never be heard from again, and that's a-okay. It is like literally 5 minutes away from my girl's house. Like, pass by, get some Dutch Bros on the way.
You live on sacred grounds?
You like Dutch Bros?
They have some really good sugar-free options.
Okay, I gotta
Like
try that.
incredibly good.
I want to try
sugar-free
their
options.
protein.
¿Quieres proteína?
I like
That's enough.
Dutch Bros a little bit. I think it's better than the
I've only
other
had it
chain
once.
options that are around.
Yeah, no, the coffee itself is good. The coffee is good. Like
Isn't there
it
one
carries.
opening in Chula Vista?
One is opening in Chula Vista, where the Burger King used to be, and
Por
next
la
to
Mac.
2 dispensaries. used
By
to
that
be.
taco place
Burger
we used
King.
to fucking
Yeah.
munch on, right?
The one by Costco?
No.
That Burger
yes, on
King's closing
Moss.
too. No, okay, not
Okay,
that one.
it's
No,
on
no, no, no.
Palomar and 3rd Avenue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Palomar and
Taqueria
3rd
Imperial
Avenue.
by Mac,
Okay.
the high school where all the
Bro, I
troubled youth go to.
I can tell you, like, it again. There was 3 dispensaries that kind of triangulated it, but they're all closed. Like that's by Crispy Cuts, Audio City.
There's like a
El-
AutoZone right there.
El
There
Empeño?
legit used to be like 4 dispensaries right there.
Where Didi's
Didi's Nuts?
Didi's
Oh, the
Didi's
nuts?
discounts.
Yeah.
The nuts? No, what?
No,
These
the
nuts,
donuts.
these
There's
nuts.
like
Oh, the
donuts. The
donuts.
donuts.
Nuts,
yeah.
Donuts, yeah.
Yeah, a little liquor store there.
Okay.
The 929 route to go to Iris Avenue. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the buses I take.
Cool.
Yeah. Public transport.
Yeah, I love it.
Dutch Bros is fire, absolutely. I can't wait to see one of these players in commute. Like, get way about way. Like to be a player, to be Chucky, like, oh, I live wherever I live, whether it's La Jolla,
We
whether
were talking
it's
about it
wherever.
on Monday.
Like,
Yeah. There's some fancy houses out there.
Yeah, I don't think
Chucky
Chucky lives in La Jolla.
It could be right
I
there.
mean,
No,
if- I mean, if,
La Jolla, downtown.
Canelo lives in Rancho Peñasquitos.
That's where Donovan lives too, I think.
All right.
The gaff.
The NWSL, the MASL. We have some good action here. A match that literally just ended. The Tacoma Stars defeated by the Milwaukee Wave in a golden goal situation. And that's as good as it gets, right? In terms of excitement and loss, and you leave it all and you lose, and
The Stars will pick
you
up a
see
point.
here just
normal claps, normal
clappity claps. It's still like hippity yaps, and you see Stefan Mijatovic, part of the Stars team, who is known to be a hothead around the league. Here, not much of a hothead, and then approaching.
I appreciate you
as
having me,
see in
Tom.
frame, right there, a little bit of shove with assistant coach for the Milwaukee Wave. There are rumors, there's nothing said solidly, that Mijatovic was launching some racially charged language around. I haven't seen anything to corroborate this. Again, go ahead and find the evidence 2 or 4. It's up to you. But essentially that just set off a chain of events where it's a little more shoving, a little bit more pushing, and all right.
Got a little
temper flare.
Things happen in
Things
sports.
happen.
skirmish going on here.
You know,
Really be
professionals.
This looks like your typical baseball.
Yeah. Oh, and the benches are clearing. Like, all right.
Now it's getting a little bit more.
And now
Yeah.
it's spilling over near the.
And I want to point your attention to the gentleman who is on top right now, screaming towards Miatovic inside the bench on the right-hand side of your screen. That is San Diego loyal legend Cutis Lawal. Played a total of 1 preseason before going back to FC Dallas on loan or one of those situations. They're still getting they're still getting in the tangle over there.
Wow.
Start breaking this up.
Still got
which is fine. Again, it happens. It happens. It happens. Everything's.
Why did it all start again?
It's just
salty that they lost.
Salty, and then you see right there at the bottom of your screen, Miatovic just absolutely loses his mind, goes back into the tunnel and starts
in the tunnel,
running into the tunnel. And so this is where this story kind of takes a different turn, because as you see, you see a different angle here. Emotion, interfering, can happen. And that's actually not the one. There's actually a better one. Hey, what's up, Panda? And Philly. Where'd it go? This league is the team that they have a team that renamed themselves halfway down through the league to the Riggies, like Rigatoni. Like just for one.
Oh, the pasta?
Just for one game.
What's your favorite pasta, Gio? Favorite type?
Where'd it go?
Penne?
Penne? Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very, if executed correctly, you can go ahead and have some really good penne. Just it takes a special somebody to make.
Oh, we got
the
it.
shape of
Abe
it.
was gone. Abe was gone. Dude.
Oh shit! We're here looking for this tragic gaff. I think they removed it.
Oh man,
Did
I
they
like
remove
fettuccine.
it?
Fettuccine is great.
Nothing
like a good penne though.
Oof.
Yeah. Abe, are you okay, dude? He's gone. We got him. We got Abe today. Yeah, maybe they took it off already.
I really think that they might have literally just took it off right now. I'm looking for it because there's a really good angle.
There's an angle
really
of
unfortunate angle actually
of that. What's the name of that player?
Stefan
Mijanovic rushing down the
diving
tunnel
into the
and
tunnel.
And
chasing
just fucking
after
shit
the
up.
San Diego
Tony, you have a good experience with this player.
I have it.
Come on, Tony.
All
share
right.
it.
So again, the shoving, the pushing and shoving, and there is a story. I am connected, unfortunately, in a lot of ways here. All right. So it happens here. You're gonna see Miatovic just shove. He just darts.
Almost runs over a kid.
Runs over a kid that almost clothesline into the locker room. Absolutely spectacular. Like that's where I'm like, man, like that's not okay. Like competitive nature, this is a player. If it happens, it happens. Like it's grown men being grown men in their own ways. And, so, like, like apparently there was a young girl who was hurt by me out of it. Kind of pretty cooperated. Again, you just hate to see this in any sort of game where it gets to this point.
You got to keep it honest, kid. Honestly, during the game, you're gonna have situations, skirmishes like
and
this.
Miatovic has done this in game where he's jumped into the San Diego Soccer's bench. And honestly, I've had
Does
my
the league
run-ins.
find players?
They had money. You can find a percentage of 0 and still 0. But I had a run-in with him actually last year, and
he tried to beat you up like this video.
No, I mean, no, actually, and it was literally one of the only times where I've felt that my girlfriend was gonna go ahead and just beat the fuck out of somebody, like because it's usually road rage contained me where like I just see red and I'm just like, oh no, like you shouldn't have done that. Like you really shouldn't have done that. Like it's like in The Lion King when they call Pumbaa Mr. Pig. Like they called me Mr. Pig. Like there's a switch. It's just like, you should not have done that. But here we go. And essentially, like last year, it was a tough time for the San Diego Sockers. The Stars came to Pechanga Arena and beat the Sockers. And after they were celebrating, like, just Mr. Big, it's great, whatever. And then out of nowhere, just decided to call me, and the last person to canon call me a fucking fat ass. Like legitimately, like since I've lost, like the last person to do it with malice and bad intention was Stefan Mijatovic. So saw that like it's not the fact that he called me that, it's just the fact that like it seemed like he was kind of also maneuvering and gesturing towards some sort of altercation with me. My girl was like, oh no, I had my hydro flask. I was ready to like, at least take one of them down. I'm like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. For being a ride or die. But
his broadcaster beats up. That'd be hilarious. It's like not even a broadcaster's girlfriend. Broadcaster's girlfriend
and professional indoor player.
Imagine? Like, and like
the news stories that the MASL would garner.
Wow, this whole venture would have literally just run your whole life.
We would have blown up. If anything, that would have made it even bigger.
Yeah, we would have been in prison. We would have.
He wouldn't have.
We would have made it.
Yeah,
I honestly, we would have been at the World Cup by now.
By now,
Yeah,
2025.
next year.
2025.
I would have taken over for Tony, and
yeah, no, just take over the rent, bro. It's all good.
I live here at your house.
You want a dog? But yeah, that is the gaff of the week, and
the grade of the week is
going to be
you.
The grade of the week is going to be the San Diego Sockers. San Diego Sockers winning their 7th game in a row today against Empire Strikers. They're getting it done. They're going to go ahead and stay on the road. They'll come back into February. Coming together. Did you know that?
Did they win tonight?
They did win today, 7-5 against Empire Strikers, like I just said.
Nice.
With stellar performances by Mendez, Gontan, Keko Gontan, and Sneer Williams. So actually Mendez with 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points total. Keko Gontan, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points total. And Snare Williams with 15 saves to earn the 3rd win of the season. San Diego concludes a 2-game road trip on this Saturday against the Texas Outlaws, which are a propped up team because the owners of San Diego Sockers and Tacoma made sure that, because the schedule was already out, and they were going to fold as a team.
Oh.
And then they were like, oh, don't. And so that's kind of what it is. But yeah, San Diego Sockers, the great of the week. Yeah.
Cool.
Sent you a little scarf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, last person in canon to call me a fucking fat ass.
That's hilarious.
Screw that
Because you
guy.
were a fat ass, but I mean back then.
Excuse you?
Back then.
Is that what made the switch? You're
Yeah.
like, you know what?
It did.
Now
I
need
told
to-
him that. Yeah. That's
I
why
need to make the
Tony. That's
move.
why Tony lost the weight.
Where'd it go?
Yikes.
Was it that game? It might have been that game.
My name is Tony Sanchez.
Hey, don't talk about
For those that don't know, Chiva used to be even bigger.
I was bigger.
That's why he makes these jokes.
Yeah, I'm allowed to.
Damn.
Damn.
No, there's a picture. There's a picture that Ryan sent me that is not flattering whatsoever because it's.
I mean, none were before.
No. Like it's from the celebrity game.
Oof.
You were making a save.
I was throwing the ball out.
You know
and,
what?
like,
Yeah, you know what?
Lonja de
Chivas
Fuera?
definitely my favorite because Imord at this training while we're waiting for players to show up pulls up a video of Tony playing in the celebrity soccer
Unprompted.
game. I don't know who he was. I forgot who he was talking to. He was like, "Hey, look at this."
Morra
And he was
de
showing.
Colombia.
Did he score? Did Imord score on you? I forget.
No, he was on my team.
Yeah. he
Okay,
was in
so
his team.
he was showing. I think Imord was showing his own goal, and then also some saves by Tony to just another media member just to say like, "Hey, look how cool." It was really funny because I just heard it. I was trying to take pictures and B-roll, like doing the media's job, and I just hear this freaking goofball talking about, or not even him.
No.
And Maud was talking about, look at this great goalkeeper, and I was like, he's built so much of a freaking ego that other people are like, hey, check.
Check-
They're showing it
I'm
on
telling
behalf
you all,
of him.
Tony feeds off of like those
Check
compliments.
this guy out. Like that's legitimately what happened there.
Well, you should have seen him at foot tennis today.
trying to-
Absolute fucking garbage.
No,
Of a soccer player you are.
I was showing you how your confidence can be boosted if I just be nice to you once in a while. And you know what? I think
no.
that's proven to be true.
No, he was
and-
trying. Abe, he was. There were games that he was literally beating me by like 8-4.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and I just came back and beat him 10-9.
We could have been there for 15 minutes, and not had a great time, and I
we were there for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, and I'm used to just an hour and a half marathons of nothing but high octane soccer, tennis,
Soccer, tennis.
I don't buy it. He's
no lo
trash.
tengo.
No la tienes. Pero bueno, San Diego Soccer are the grade of the week, gentlemen. I think that about wraps it up. Is there anything else you guys have for today's episode? Abe, you have a birthday coming up?
Month, I guess, yeah.
In a month.
Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day once again.
Happy Martin Luther King Day.
Okay.
He's the guy. He's the man, the myth, the legend.
He's the boy.
Do you guys think Naomi? Just final question.
Think
real
it was the
quick,
CIA?
sorry.
What?
No, Naomi Girma. Final question: does Tachiva? Because I think Tony's set in his ways that Girma's leaving. Do you think Girma will leave the wave?
Yeah.
By the end of January. Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
$1 million is hard to reject.
Yeah. I really hope it doesn't happen, but it seems more and more likely that she's leaving.
Jeremy saying update on the new studio that is not a garage, even though I cannot see you guys anywhere else. Hey, we might be in it's weird just because I kind of don't live here. Like I do live here and I don't live here, but like my room is available, but like it's not available for podcast setup, but I can set it up for a podcast, but there's a bed in there because I do sleep there, but I kind of don't sometimes. So I do a futon, but then that's really saying like I don't live here anymore. Like there's a lot of real implications to this thing. There is one thread that Mondays might change for us and not have it be here in the garage anymore, and that would be very good and positive. But until then, we'll keep it here in the garage. Sorry, Tanya. It looks like Girma's nuts.
Sorry.
Maybe Tanya's at these. She's always at the airport. Maybe she knows some information that we don't. You never know. Tanya could know.
She's in the know. Yeah. Like the Sirens are in the know. Which, by the way, Sirens also have their memberships out and about for the 2025 season. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Support independent groups that support soccer. That's whether that's a union, whether that's an independent supporter group. You do that. Be wise. Be happy, be healthy. Honey Nut Cheerios. That's their slogan. Be happy, be healthy.
Well, Chivas
Season's greetings. Thank you for everybody who joined.
Thank you, everyone.
We got to see you guys next week. We'll have coverage of San Diego FC as we go through the weeks, and San Diego Wave as news breaks as well. Till then, bye.